Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Well, it's the end of 2014, so here's my top 10 games of this year. Few things to note here. If you've watched my top 100 list that came out earlier this year, you'll know that the taste of the games that I like typically are in that sweet spot of around 60 minutes-ish, maybe up to 90 minutes, with pretty much not a super complex, but a simpler rule set, but yet still has a lot of depth. And so it's sort of that light medium to up to medium games. I like light games too. You'll see everything from light to probably medium on this list. Also, my criteria was the game had to have come out in 2014 from a publisher somewhere in the world. If it does not yet have US distribution, it at least needed to come with English rule set. So that was my criteria for this. So let's get started. My top 10.
Number 10.
My number 10 is actually a reprint of a game that came out many years ago. It's a second edition, but there were enough differences in both gameplay and artwork that it kind of stands on its own. We're talking about Cash and Guns second edition. Came out right around August at Gen Con through Asmodee. It's a game for 4 to 8 players, where essentially at the count of 3, everyone's pointing these foam guns at each other. And you know, it's a light theme because it's kind of just fun. The artwork's kind of comical, and it's just a lot of laughter as you see how many people are holding guns, and you kind of get these things where you're going after the same person round after round and paying each other back for earlier. And you're just deciding when you see how many guns are pointing at you, whether you're gonna run away or lay down, or if you're gonna stand tall, because not everybody has an actual bullet card. Some of them are these blank cards. And so essentially you're just trying to see if you can be standing at the end of the round. If so, you're gonna be drafting some cards out of the middle that are these loot cards where there's money, there's some paintings, there's some diamonds, there's different bonuses for getting different cards during the game, plus there's some special abilities. It's a really fun light game with a lot of laughter. Cash and Guns.
Number 9.
My number 9 was actually one of the 3 games nominated for the Spiel des Jahres, which is Game of the Year award in Germany, and it's called Splendor. Now, when I originally saw this game, I wasn't that interested in it because it just seemed themeless and not a lot of fun, but when you play this game, wow, you're really using these gems to purchase cards, which then give you more gems, and you're building this little mini engine to try to finally get these character cards at the top that are worth points too. It's a very simple game. It's pretty easy to teach, but man, is it tense, and your brain starts to smoke a little bit. And wow, it's got a lot of fun, and you're trying to like maybe block some other people from getting the cards that they want. It's just a lot of fun, and it's very streamlined, yet there's, simple rules, simple mechanisms, but yet it just feels like, wow, it just grabs you because it's just trying to think of these engines and building off that and thinking your path to victory is very, very enjoyable. So this is Splendor, and it's my number 9. My number 8 is a card game. It's similar to a trick-taking game that you may have played with regular cards like hearts or spades, but it has a little bit of a twist and it really changes the game a ton. We're talking about Diamonds here. And it's designed by Mike Fitzgerald, who's a great card game designer, and it's brought to us by Stronghold Games. Plays 2 to 6 players, plays about 30 minutes. And the big twist is when you have a hand and you cannot follow suit, and you have to play cards that are offsuit, those cards no longer just do nothing. Actually, each one of the 4 suits has a special action. And what you're trying to do is get diamonds from the supply in behind and into your vault. But sometimes they'll just be in front of you, and you have a shield, and they'll be in front of you in their showroom. And sometimes you'll be stealing diamonds from other people, they'll be stealing them from you, and you're trying to get them in your vault so they'll be worth points and that nobody can steal them. So there's a lot of little special actions there for each of the suits. It really adds a ton of fun to a regular trick-taking game, kind of gives it that twist without making it a whole lot more complex. So it's simple to play, it gives you that twist, and it plays so different from other trick-taking games, and it plays really well with 2, which is hard to do. With a trick-taking game, it scales great all the way to 6. That's Diamonds.
Number 7.
7 is a medium-weight Euro strategy game where you are a cattle baron, and you're trying to bring home herds of cattle, or cows, and you're trying to sell them off for a profit. And we're talking about El Gacho here. It's 2 to 4 players, plays in about an hour. And the reason why I like this so much is you have this mix of rolling dice, and depending on what dice are left over by the time it's your turn, there's one pool of dice everyone's pulling from, and based on those dice, they're taking actions. And so those actions are you're trying to claim cows that you're going to try to bring home and sell later, or you're using those dice to put your guy on landmarks that will give you some special actions later in the game. And a lot of times you're mixing and comboing together a lot of those special actions to have one big turn. So mixing those actions with the cows, and they got to go in a certain order, either largest to small or small to largest. So there's a little puzzly aspect there where you're trying to figure out, you know, and there's a bunch of different colors of cows as well. So you're trying to put them all together. You're trying to sell them out. You get this pool of dice, and by the time it comes to you, you may not be able to do what you want to do because somebody took the dice you want. So then you've got to kind of change on a whim there. But then maybe next turn you get the first choice at all the dice. So I like the dice rolling. I like the strategy. I like the special actions and morphing those together. It's just a really good game. One that I was quite surprised with, but it's a great, if you like Euro strategy games, El Gaucho is one to check out.
Number 6.
Number 6 is a very, very light game. It's 2 to 4 players, plays in about 10 minutes. We're talking about a press your luck game from Mayday Games called Dead Man's Draw. This started out as an iOS app and was now made into a physical game. In this game, essentially, you're drawing these different cards, and there's 10 different suits. There's hooks and swords and mermaids and cannons, and essentially, when the cards come up, you're just deciding whether or not you want to go again. And if another card comes up with the same suit, you bust. Or you can stop and take all those cards and put them in front of you, and you're trying to get points. The big trick and the twist of this game is that each of these 10 different suits has a special action. Some of them will allow you to be blowing up other people's cards. Some of them will allow you to be reactivating cards that you have already gotten and reactivate their special abilities. When you start comboing together a lot of these special abilities, you have a key and a chest together and you get a bunch of bonus cards because you unlock the treasure. It's just a lot of fun to play with this because those different combinations of different cards and special abilities really make this game shine. Each person also gets a special ability at the beginning of the game too that they can use. There's also some event cards that change the game as well. For such a small game and a light game, man is it fun. And it's great from 2 to 4 players. Dead Man's Draw, anybody can play this one.
Number 5.
My number 5 is a lightweight Euro strategy game. It's designed by the same person who did Francis Drake, Peter House. We're talking about Royals. And in this game, it came out of Essen. Now, it doesn't have US distribution yet, but it does have an English rule set. And in this game, it's an area control where you're trying to control different areas of Europe during the 17th century area. And you're getting different people of different level of royalty in the different towns of those countries. But there's the great thing about this game and why it really grabs you is because, number one, it's a very simple and easy game to learn and to teach. There's only like 2 things you can do on your turn. So it moves very fast. But with those 2 things, there's a lot there's a lot of thinking that goes into it. So it moves very fast. The pacing is great. There's almost no downtime, even with the full complement of 5 players. Yet every time it comes to you, you've got a tough choice to make. Even though you can only do 1 or 2 things, trying to plan out what you're going to do this turn and some next turns, it really grabs you. There's so many different paths to victory, whether you're going to be grabbing all the characters first or controlling a certain country or being the first to have all the towns. There's a lot of different ways and paths of victory here, and it's so easy to teach, but with this level of simplicity, it offers more depth than you would imagine. Royals is a great game, and you're not going to want to pass this one up.
Number 4.
My number 4, was a game that surprised me, and then after I've told people about it, it's surprised them too. And it's a great family level game. It plays in about 30 minutes. It's from 2 to 5 players. We're talking about the Game of 49. It may look simple, it may sound simple, it may sound like something you might pass up or pass over. Don't. This looks and feels like a Sid Saxon design, and we all know the late great Sid Saxon made some great games like Acquire and such. In this game, you're simply just trying to get 4 chips in a row on a numbered grid. That's it, by bidding. And the auctions are pretty normal. So what's the catch? Well, it's like a little economic engine where you're trying to build up your money because you got to spend money to get chips on the board, but then every so often cards will come up that will pay out. Not only will they pay out, but you'll get to put chips, you'll be bidding to put chips on multiple spots or one of multiple spots. It really ratchets up the bidding, but every time those cards come out, people get paid for however many chips they have on the board, $7 per chip. So it's interesting because you have this balance of, do I want to save my money for the spots I really want, or do I want to spend a lot of money or frequently spend money to try to get chips to try to build up the economic engine to get things moving. There's some luck in there, obviously, with the pull of the cards, but there's some strategies. I've seen all different strategies win this game. I've seen the person with the least amount of chips, the person with the most amount of chips. It's a really fun game, and it can be played by anyone. My niece and nephew love it. My parents love it. My grandparents love it. My gamer friends love it. I haven't seen a game that has been this fun for that many different demographic age ranges and gamer or not in a while. And that's why it's this high on my list for top 10, the Game of 49.
Number 3.
My number 3 is a game that came out at Gen Con, and it's a game where it's a programming game. You're programming your people to go around the city to try to gather the right amount of warriors and people to defeat the monsters, and people are messing with each other of where they're going. We're talking about Lords of Zidit. It's set in that Seasons universe. It's definitely not a theme that I typically like, but the gameplay in this really is strong. So the programming aspect, it's about 90 minutes long. It plays 3 to 5 players, best with 4 or 5. Now, I like programming games in general, but this is really fun because you can actually see what's coming out in future rounds. So you may see what things are going, and you might see what something's going to trigger this round over here, which will bring this guy over here. So there's some slight foreshadow planning, but what I really love the most about this game is the way it scores, how a lot of the scoring is hidden. You don't know who has how much of certain things in some of this game, and towards the end, you don't have to have the most of each category, you just can't have the least. And it's very interesting as you go through the 3 different scoring towers at the end, and you just can't have the least of each of them, and they're randomly set up each game. The scoring makes this game, and the programming makes it fun too. Lords of Zidit.
Number 2.
My number 2 is an extremely fun party game. It's like a game I've never played before, and it's probably the game I've had the most fun playing this year. It is a game called Spyfall. Now, it came out in Russia this year. It's not actually even out in the United States, and it's really hard to get from Russia. I'm not even sure if they're shipping them, but a few copies got out early, and this will be coming out early in 2015 probably, and I don't know by who, but keep your eye out for this one. It did have an English rule set, and it did come out in 2014, so it met my criteria there. This is a game where it's a social deduction game where it's 3 to 8 players, and one person is the spy, and that person's trying to figure out what single location is everybody else at. Well, everybody else knows where they're at, and they're asking questions to each other one at a time, and the questions that they ask and the answers that are given will allow the people that know which location they are to be like, oh, okay, his answer's good. I understand his answer. He's probably where we need to be. But the spy doesn't know where anybody is. He doesn't even know where he is. So he's trying to figure it out by listening to the answers of the questions and listening to the questions and trying to put together which one of these 26 locations of the game am I at. So the people that are answering the questions that know where they are trying to be vague enough that the spy doesn't figure it out, but good enough that everybody else knows that he's not the spy. Very interesting game. You're pointing out, trying to see who the spy is. Someone might give a pretty vague answer. They think they're being clever. Everyone else is pointing at him. It's a lot of fun. Best social deduction game I've played in a long time, Spyfall.
And finally, number 1.
My game of the year, number 1. For me, it came out at Gen Con, and it's from my favorite designer, Bruna Cathala. Now, we're talking about 5 Tribes from Days of Wonder. This is a medium weight game, about 60 to 75 minutes long. And the reason why I love this game so much is, again, it's a medium-ish game. It doesn't take too long to play. The rules are quite simple, but yet there's a lot of depth here. Essentially, you're moving people around in an old Menkala type of mechanism. But the thing I really love about this is the constantly moving puzzle of this game. There's a completely random setup of tiles and meeples at the beginning of the game, so every game starts differently. Then with every turn, the board changes, which means I might think I know what I'm going to do this turn, but when somebody goes ahead of me, because hey, there's an auction mechanic in this too, and so if I didn't bid high enough to really get the move that I really wanted, someone else took it and didn't even take the move I wanted, but took something else that screwed up that I wanted to do, I gotta now find a different move to do. And figuring out that moving puzzle is what I really love about this game. And as the game goes on, the puzzle changes, and the game almost feels like the game's alive and morphing. I just love it. And there's so many different ways you can go. You could go the money route with the merchants, or the builders. You could go with trying to get a bunch of resources with the merchant cards. You could try to get a bunch of genies with the elders. You could try to build a lot of points up with the viziers. The viziers. It's just, wow. Lots of different paths to victory here, lots of different options, great components, awesome artwork, and the auction mechanism is quite good too. And it's just really, for me, that constant evolving puzzle that was so fun to solve and feels so different every game you play. That's why I love it. 5 Tribes, my game of the year. Well, there you have it, my top 10 games of the year. Again, I didn't play every game. There's a lot of games I still have to play, but at this point in time, in late December of 2014, those are the top 10 best games for me, for my tastes, and I'd love to see your comments and see what you think. We'll see you next year.